Welcome to your Joyful Life Podcast, Episode 2. Your feelings are feedback, not a problem to solve. So, in our first podcast, one of the things we decided we would talk about in our second podcast was the idea that feelings are a GPS.
Right, yeah.
So I thought we would start with, maybe you can just explain that idea a little bit, and then there'll probably be some follow-up questions.
Hooray. All right. Yeah, feelings as a GPS. What we're talking about when we point towards feeling as a GPS is the idea that what our feelings are really telling us about is the quality of our thinking. They they reflect what's going on in our personal thinking. It's kind of how I see that. So when we are feeling frustrated or anxious, our wonderfully big brains have a tendency to try to figure out why it is we're feeling this way and do something about it.
Sure.
And what we're kind of positing is that, well, there's really nothing to be done. There's just a noticing. So the feeling of frustration tends to point us out into the world to look for problems to solve, to remove frustration. And what we're suggesting is that what feelings as a GPS is really pointing to is what's holding our attention in the moment. So what we're paying attention to in our personal thinking.
So for people who haven't heard this idea before, what it sounds like you're saying is that
Excuse me.
At least the way that I normally assume things are working is I have a feeling, and then I think about that feeling. So I notice, I don't feel good. What's going on? Oh, I feel frustrated. Why do I feel frustrated? What happened in the last X amount of time that made me feel frustrated? So the feeling comes first, and then I think about the feeling to understand where the feeling came from. What you're saying is actually the opposite of that, or it sounds like, which is that we have thinking, or we point our attention somewhere, thoughts come from that, those thoughts create feelings, and now we have the feelings. Is that, how should we think about that?
Yeah, the way that I see it is we're thinking all the time, and thoughts thoughts come and go. It's part of being human. We get to think, and there is an interface, I suppose, between that thought and our thinking state, or our thinking and our feeling state. So what we're actually experiencing in real time is our thinking in any given moment, right? So as we think, the feedback that we get is qualitative, but it points us to what we're attending to. And I don't want to repeat myself, but the tendency is when we feel something that we don't like, we look out into the world and we try to solve for the feeling that we have that we don't like, which most of the time ends up doing that and kind of hooking us into more of the same. So as we close the aperture down in our effort to fix the feeling state that we're having that we don't like or would prefer not to exist, we kind of trap ourselves by looking away rather than seeing that feeling state just as an indicator of what we're paying attention to. So thoughts arising all the time. And if we leave it alone, we've all experienced this. If we as thought arises, if we don't mess with it, it tends to go on its merry way. And our feeling, I'm going to use the word our feeling state as neutral, but what I really mean is that our feeling state when left alone is buoyant. It's kind of open to what's next. And when we experience a feeling state that we don't like, and then engage in the conditioned response, which is trying to solve for it rather than just acknowledging it, then we close off possibility. So I hope I'm answering the question. What we're really pointing to is that our feelings are nothing to be afraid of. And maybe this is a perfect time for my favorite Sid Banks quote, which is, if the only thing people learned was to not fear their experience, that alone would change the world. So our relationship to our feelings is typically one of either, if I'm feeling great, I ignore them. I'm barely aware of them. I've never asked myself why I'm feeling great and made it a cause for concern.
Right.
But I've desperately tried to escape feelings that I find uncomfortable. And I think the trap there is that we're trying to fix something that isn't broken. The system, sort of as I see it, is we think, thought, feeling piggybacks on our thinking. We can either notice that, realize that it's pointing towards what we're holding in our attention, or alternatively, which is what we do most of the time, is we look at it from the perspective of what's wrong. And when we really go downhill, it's what's wrong with me. Right?
Okay.
So I don't feel great right now. Okay, what's the problem? Well, I don't feel great right now. What's the problem? Well, I don't feel good right now. Okay, well, how would you rather feel? Well, I'd rather feel like this. So it's this whole idea of being at odds with our feelings that I think that misses the mark. Right? It's okay to feel frustrated. It's okay to feel anxious. It's okay to feel frustrated. It's okay to feel angry, just as it is okay to feel joy or happiness. And it's that misunderstanding that there's something that needs to be done. It's like as if our feelings can hurt us. Oh, I feel bad. Oh, what do I do now?
Right. There's a sense that, like you said, when we feel good, that's the state we want to be in. So there's nothing to
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
I've already got there. And when I don't feel good, I'm not in the state I want. So it feels like there's something I should do to get out of the state I don't want and to get into the state that I do want.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And it's funny because that or at least the way it shows up for me is the more that I try to escape the feeling that I don't want, the more attention I inadvertently give that. It's like, I may have told this story before. When my wife and I got together, sort of early on in our relationship, we made a loose agreement to not ask each other what was wrong.
You mentioned that last time, yeah.
Yeah. So what's wrong? Well, nothing. I just don't feel good. Yeah, but what's wrong? Nothing. I just don't feel good. And of course, we've all had this experience that when we indulge ourselves in the what's wrong question, that we can quickly watch ourselves spiral downhill.
Right.
So this feelings as a GPS. I was on a coaching call this morning. We were talking about it, and this person was. We got on the call and it's like, well, so what's new? What's been going on the last couple of weeks? What have you noticed? Oh, it's been really rough these last 2 weeks. Oh, okay. What's going on? And then the story came out and it's like, well, so what were you paying attention to this whole time? Oh, well, I was really paying attention to what was wrong in my life. So, this idea that feelings are something that we need to do something about, in his case, he didn't want to feel how he felt.
Could relate to that, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we all have at times, and I think what we're really pointing at is to try to be okay with how you're feeling right now, or to be okay with how you're feeling right now, rather than getting caught up in the need to change it.
So let's, I always like to pull these back into something practical. So let's say I'm at work. Something happens at work, doesn't matter what, and I'm feeling frustrated with someone. So my things have happened out there in the world. I am putting my attention on presumably the thing about the situation that isn't going the way I want it to, or someone's making a choice I don't like, whatever it is, and I feel frustrated about that situation. So now I'm sitting with my frustration, and what I'm hearing from you is that there's nothing to actually do out there. I should just be okay with the frustration. And so talk about the difference between there is still a situation going on out there. Like I'm doing my job. I'm at work. Things are happening. I may not agree with the decisions that are being made or, anything like that. I still have to deal with that out there in the real world while at the same time I'm feeling frustrated. So what's the sort of mental process or whatever? How do you become okay inside so that you can deal with the outside from a better place?
That's a huge question. How do I become okay on the inside so that I can deal with stuff on the outside better?
And the reason I ask that, and this is sort of through my own experience of understanding these, the experiments that we do and, these ideas, is that we've all been in a place where you try and solve something out there where you're not in a good mood, right? Whether you're angry or whatever the emotion is, if you're coming from that place, you're probably not approaching the issue from your best. So the idea, as I've heard it anyway, is that be okay in here first, and then the place that you come from to deal with what's out there will be a better version of yourself, or however you want to say it. So going
Yeah.
back to the question, yeah, how do we do what you're talking about, using the idea of feelings as a GPS to become okay with whatever we're feeling in order to, or so that we can deal with the external situation in a better way. Or maybe if you want to say we don't have to deal with the external situation, maybe that's okay too.
What external
Right.
situation?
Right.
So I mean, I think, probably the truthful answer is there is no external situation. Although it really looks like it, because when I'm feeling a way that I don't want to feel, the last thing I want to do is take responsibility for it. I want to place that frustration on the person who missed a deadline or who
Sure.
isn't answering the way that I think they should, or whatever the situation is. So I think you're kind of hitting the nail on the head with, placing our attention on ourselves first, becoming good within ourselves, whatever that means, and resisting the idea or the notion to look externally to explain something that is being created by you internally. We could say that the world is neutral, but for the way that we paint it.
Right.
So if I'm sitting here thinking, well, damn, that was a hard question, man, and I get frustrated, I can blame Evan, but it's really just me thinking about something that leads to the creation of this experience of frustration. So I don't know if that answers a question or not. It's so easy. I think from day one, we're taught to avoid feeling pain, or, I mean, not physical pain. We preferentially, I guess we want to avoid that. But, we tend to avoid feeling off or feeling bad, and it's so conditioned within us that, that when negative feelings arise, be that at work or anywhere else, this tendency to step in and solve for them, paradoxically, is the problem. And I think leaving them alone. So, to your example at work, you're frustrated with something. Well, how often has it helped to drill down into that sense of frustration? And how often have you noticed that, well, if you just, for whatever reason, that chain of thinking gets broken, then all of a sudden you notice you're not frustrated anymore. And then it comes back because now you're thinking about being frustrated again.
Right.
So
Where did
it's,
my frustration go? Yeah.
yeah, where did it go? Oh, I'll bring it back now. Oh, that's right. I remember why I'm so frustrated with this person.
Right.
So I think a lot of it is just getting to a place where we spend enough time around looking at the world this way that we start to see that it actually does work this way in our own experience.
Okay.
Right? Like, have you ever been at work and felt really frustrated and tried to fix it and it didn't work, and you blame the person and it still didn't work, and then you went for a walk and you came back and the frustration was gone? I mean, we have examples of this. I think most people do in every aspect of their lives.
Sure.
Until we point it at ourselves. Right? So I guess what I'm saying is, or trying to say, is that what we really want to embrace is the transient nature of our thinking, and not make a big fuss about it when we get caught up in our personal thinking from time to time. So in a live setting, what's the advantage of realizing that you're living your thought experience? Well, it takes other people off the hook. In a sense, it takes you off the hook because there's nothing to solve. It's just what's happening in real time.
So you're saying that what I feel like, going back to the frustration example, like I feel that I have a legitimate reason for being frustrated.
Sure, we always do.
Right. So obviously the thing happened.
Something happened.
Something happened.
Yeah.
And I know better or whatever, and therefore I am frustrated that things aren't going the way that I think they should to have the outcome we all want. The emotion of frustration comes up because of that. That emotion feels legitimate because of the situation. So going back to my question, like, okay, the meeting just ended, right? We all left the room or whatever. I am feeling frustrated. what do I do with all of this, all of these ideas that it's my own thinking and there's no problem out there? What do I do next?
Remember, it's true.
Okay, so let's go step by step. So I sit down at my desk.
I've given him a hard time.
Well, I'm going to give you a hard time. Make sure you
Yes.
answer my question.
All
No.
right. I'll do my best. Carry on, sir.
Okay, so I sit down at my desk, fuming a little bit, and what do I remember? What's the first thing?
That your experience is coming in real time via the attention that you're giving to your personal thinking.
Okay, so I sit for a second and I remember, okay, I'm feeling bad. I'm feeling frustrated, and I'm going to remind myself that this feeling is a product of my thinking.
Yeah, I would say the if there is a first step, if we want to talk about it in those terms, be okay with what you're feeling.
Okay.
Right. So I'm going to acknowledge that I'm feeling frustrated right now.
Right. Okay, good. Right. So I have a feeling. I'm going to label that feeling
XYZ, yeah.
Whatever. Okay, yes. I am feeling frustrated. Hey, universe, I currently feel frustrated.
Yes.
This is the state I'm in. Okay. Good.
Yes. We've now presenced the feeling.
Okay. Okay. We have presenced. All right.
Oh, yeah. And so the question is what to do next.
Yeah, and I don't mean this to be like a sequential thing,
yeah.
but just I'm trying to put myself in the moment of a situation. How do I make all this practical? What do I do?
Yeah, I really think the what makes it practical is staying in the conversation and practicing, noticing and being okay with the that the way the system works is your feeling state reflects your thinking state. I really think that's the answer, right? I'm frustrated at work. Okay. What do I do about this? Why am I frustrated? I'm frustrated because things should be different.
Right.
Okay. Like, good luck with that, right? Like,
right.
Good luck. So I know I'm not really answering the question, but I think the thing to do is to just be okay with your feeling and then recognizing or remembering that how I feel is a condition of my attachment to personal thinking. It's my creation.
Right.
It looks like the other person did it to me, but really it's my making meaning of what someone else did.
So I think that's the key.
Right. And thinking what they did should be different. Well,
right,
you should have done, the thing that I think you should have done, you didn't do. So obviously I'm frustrated with you.
Right. If you had done it, I wouldn't be feeling this way.
Of course. I'd be feeling frustrated about something entirely different. Right. Yeah. Is that closer to an answer?
Yeah.
It feels like that's getting closer.
Yeah. So I acknowledge the feeling. I am feeling frustrated.
Yeah, that's fine.
Then which is okay. And I think, most of us have an impulse to like, I should do something about it. Either I need to like wrestle with my own internal monologue,
just need to fix it.
Right. Yeah.
Solve it. Yeah.
Yeah. Or I need to barge back into the room. I'll solve it that way.
Right. Shake my fist at people.
And what you're saying is the feeling, what we were saying at the beginning was sort of the feeling is a product of our thinking, which means if you can remember that, I am feeling frustrated, not because of what happened out there, but because of what I'm thinking about what happened
it's
out there, which is all in here.
That's right. Yes. Are you following this, everyone? Yeah. It's the meaning. It's the meaning that we make or give to things and occurrences external to us that seem problematic, or that is problematic. Excuse me. And even that's okay, right? Like we do this. Mm-hmm. We sometimes think that, that's XYZ is causing me to feel this way. Oh, okay, well, so what? That happens from time to time.
Right.
Still nothing to fix. Still nothing to solve. Still pointing back towards us and our creation. I mean, I guess part of this leads to a conversation around how our external circumstances, the world itself, is neutral, and we get to paint. We paint with our thinking. We get to measure the quality of our paint by the feeling it brings us. And I really feel like that's all there is to remember. It's just like, okay, I feel frustrated. What does that mean? It means I feel frustrated. Okay, what does that mean? Well, it means that something somewhere in my personal thinking, I'm attaching to something that is creating a feeling that I would prefer not to have. Awesome. So what do I need to do? Well, nothing. Let go. It's like I'm holding a ball underwater. I'm frustrated. I'm holding a ball underwater, and the ball underwater is my frustration. I'm holding it underwater. I'm holding it under. Well, what do I need to do? I don't have to put one hand on top and one hand on the bottom and push the ball up.
Right.
I can just let go. And I think what's important in this sort of, when we talk about this thought-feeling connection, is just sort of space or presence of mind to just give yourself the opportunity to remember that you're making it up. I mean, lots of philosophies and cultures have, they make a big deal out of breathing. Take a breath. Now, there's probably some wisdom in that. I'm feeling really angry. Okay, take a breath. What happens as you took a breath? Well, the anger ebbs a little bit. You didn't solve it. You didn't fix it. It's almost like by not engaging with it, you're giving it an out. Like, it seems to me that thought is pretty transient. If I don't grab something that's happening up here, it tends to just kind of... So maybe the answer to the question, what do you do, is take a moment. Maybe that's enough. Maybe that's enough to let what is in its nature transient go on its merry way and be replaced by something else.
So that transience, when I'm stuck in a moment of frustration, it doesn't feel transient because the string of thoughts. So let me say it a different way. When I'm not frustrated and I'm paying attention to my thinking is erratic at best, right? It's, squirrel, right? There's I'm thinking about what I want to eat next, what I have to do next, what happened yesterday, what someone said, whether I like these pants or not. Like, there's a lot of, it's just random. When I am in that moment of frustration or whatever it is, it's pretty consistently moment to moment about the frustration.
Well, we certainly have a tendency to make it about it.
Yeah, so I think what I'm trying to ask is, it doesn't feel like I'm making it.
No.
It feels like it's happening.
Well, it's a good system, right? It works well. Like, it wouldn't be much fun to play this game of being alive if the things that we thought and felt didn't seem real.
Right.
Yep. So yeah, it feels real. Got it. The system's working.
Okay.
The design, whatever that means. Okay, excellent. Check mark. It's working.
Okay.
I'm thinking stuff and it's not serving me and I feel crappy. Yes, feels real. I think, in my own experience, I think it's just, for me, it's been a question of becoming more and more comfortable with what seems to me to be the truth about how my experience comes about. That doesn't mean I don't forget. There are times when, my wife and I have an argument and it really looks like she's the reason that I'm feeling the way that I'm feeling. Except that even while I'm having the argument with my wife, fully feeling real in the moment that it's her causing it and knowing she's doing it, I also know that she's not.
Right.
It's like you can almost, or you can get to a point where you can watch yourself carrying on this behavior while watching yourself suffer the thinking that you're bringing into reality, the feelings that you're ignoring. And it seems to me that the whole time that's going on, there's some aspect of you that is sitting back with a Cuba Libre waiting for you to figure it out and remember that, come back to yourself. It's hard to sort of explain what to do because it's not really a what to do about it. I'm frustrated at work. What do I do about it? Well, nothing, because being frustrated at work isn't a problem. It's just a temporary experience that is coming about because of what you're paying attention to in your personal thinking. So it's a tricky question. What do you do about it?
So when we say, we'll try it this way. When you say feeling is a GPS, when I think about a GPS, I have a destination in mind. A GPS doesn't work unless there's a destination programmed in. Otherwise, it's just, a map with a dot on it where I am. But let's assume there's a direction in mind. And when I go off, when I can't figure out the rotation of the map and I make a left and the map was saying go right, I am off track, and then the GPS has to reorient itself and get angry with me, and then I make the U-turn or whatever, and now I'm back on track. So when we say feeling is a GPS, feelings are pointing either towards or away from how we want to be feeling or our experience. What is it a GPS of?
Yeah, I don't know if it's necessarily pointing anywhere other than, it feelings as a GPS kind of gives you a point of orientation,
Okay.
right? Not necessarily a direction. I don't feel good right now. Okay. So that's my point of orientation now. I'm not feeling good. I understand that, I'm paying attention to thinking. It's not serving me. Here I am not feeling good. So when we talk about feeling our way or feelings as a GPS, it's the information that is in the recognition that right now what I'm thinking isn't serving me. So,
Okay.
think about it like a divining rod, old day, like old cartoon guy and a miner with a divining rod. And he's like, they're doing this. And, so I'm in my head about stuff and the divining rods are doing this. And then as I settle down and, come back to myself, remember that, it's just me and my thinking, then I'm not sure how they actually work. I guess they cross when you hit
It's two
water?
L things. I can't remember if they string or yeah.
It's like, what do they do?
It's a pretty obscure reference you're pulling from
Yeah,
there.
no, I was going to use a radio, and I should have probably done that.
Slightly more relatable.
Yeah, no kidding. Like old cartoons, man. So to take that feelings as a GPS a little bit deeper, I guess, what we're, I suppose, sensing for is an alignment with our true self.
Okay.
So when we're off, whatever that means, and we're feeling bad, okay, that's our personal thinking. So that our feeling state is a reflection of our personal thinking. Okay, we can put that over there now. And where the feeling, not so much feelings, but our feeling state becomes useful is we can use it to measure what we're paying attention to and not. So it's like when we talk about feeling our way to something, we're really talking about not working against ourselves, allowing how we would prefer to be to surface itself. So when I think about feelings as a GPS, feelings as guidance, what they really are is the reminder, more so than feeling my way towards something positive, which seems to just kind of happen when I stop orienting myself in a negative way.
Okay.
So for me, feeling as a GPS, yeah, we can talk about feelings as a way of aligning oneself with our true selves, and we can talk about that. But I think the bigger purpose in seeing feeling state as guidance is just away from what's feeling negative in the moment. That we can orient ourselves in a way that is going to help us feel, I guess, preferentially the way we would prefer to feel, right? So we bring ourselves right back into an alignment with our true selves by not removing ourselves from it. So the GPS lets us know when we're not being guided by wisdom, for lack of a better way of putting it, right?
Okay.
Like it's like radar. Radar registers a boat or a ship or whatever, right? And it pings for us. Well, if there's nothing to notice, it doesn't do anything.
Right.
So radar is only useful when it's detecting something. So in that sense, our feelings are useful because they're detecting something.
Okay.
What we choose to orient to after that is up to us. We can double down and place all of our attention on the not feeling good part and get more of that, or we can sort of see that, oh, my orientation is here, and if I release my attention to that orientation, we naturally end up in a better place.
So let's use.
Yeah.
So I like the radio tuning analogy, and we'll
Right.
have to. Everyone's gonna have to remember analog tuning instead of digital. So you've got the knob and the needle moves.
The fuzz, yeah.
And
Yeah.
what you're saying is that we're not. I think the way, at least the way I have always approached this whole project of whatever looking for more joy, is that I'm not on the station and I'm
Yeah.
aggressively trying to learn techniques and strategies to tune it
Yeah.
so that I get where I want. And one of the things that's been a bit mind bending that you've explained is that you're actually already on the station.
Yeah.
And
That's it exactly.
what you're doing, and this is when we go back to sort of feelings as GPS, and obviously we're mixing our metaphors here significantly, but I think people will be able to follow along,
Yeah.
is that when I'm feeling frustrated, I recognize that frustration, and as long as I accept that experience in the moment, as long as I don't resist it, I'm still tuned into the station. It just becomes an interesting experience to have. And I also,
Right.
I think about it like when you're watching like a movie that doesn't have tension or that doesn't have negative things happening is a really boring movie to watch.
Yeah.
Right? The characters have to go through some things in order for the movie to be interesting. And it's the same for our own lives, right? If we never experienced frustration, we wouldn't know what it was like to experience frustration.
Right.
And so it's kind of a cool, like, if you'd never experienced frustration before, you're like, what is this thing I'm feeling? What a weird configuration of energy and emotions, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you're not resisting and you're just in that experience, you are still tuned in to the radio station.
Yeah.
It's not a negative experience anymore. It's just an experience that doesn't feel good. And
Yeah.
when we get caught up in our thinking and think that there's something we have to change and resist that experience, that's when we're turning the dial and now there's static and noise and we're not on the station.
Yeah, I would go one step farther and say we're always on the station.
Oh.
We just create the illusion that we're not. So it's that involvement, like we're never not part of everything that is.
We're going to need a different metaphor for that, but I hear what you're saying.
Right? Like there's a station and we're all on it.
Right.
Period. You know, like the bush out there is on the same station in a sense that we're on here, right? But yeah, when we tune towards that negative station that gives us feedback as a not good feeling, it gives the illusion of separation. It creates that sense of being separate from. And
Right. So the lack of, like when we were saying, when you're feeling happy, you don't think about it. You're just
Right.
aligned. You are
yeah,
on the station.
You're there.
You're having the experience, and you don't have to think about it.
Yeah.
And our thinking is what is, I'm going to say, off tuning the
variable?
We're turning
Yeah,
the dial,
yeah.
right? And now we're not
Yeah.
there. But if we let go of the dial, maybe this is a way to keep the radio metaphor going. Maybe if we let go of the dial, it automatically tunes back. And so we're sort of like actively holding it.
We can bring
off.
modern technology into it, right? If you press like a scan, when you're scanning for audio, it tunes into the strongest signal.
Right.
Well, the strongest signal is the one we're all connected to anyway, and all we can do is keep ourselves away from it.
Nice job modernizing it.
Hey.
That was good. We went from divining rods analog to
Dividing rods and cartoons.
Yeah.
Solid. So yeah, maybe there is, there's a lot of talk. Well, in different communities, we verbalize that tuning in different ways. Some people talk about it all being love. Some people talk about it being joy. Some people talk about, our default setting as being one of good mental health. I don't know what the right answer is, but there seems to be a default setting. The language that I've been using for it lately is there's a buoyancy. There is a possibility. When we're not tuning away from and creating the illusion of life is good, right? Things are possible, things are open, maybe spaciousness is a word. I don't know that we instantly get mental health. although you could probably make a case for it. But what I sort of see in that ability to recognize where our focus is, what I see there is the opportunity for new possibility. Right. So if we're not making a big deal out of it, if we're just dealing with the thing, and not even dealing with it, if we're just accepting of the experience that's happening, we can remember that, we play a fairly significant role in the creation thereof. And if we can see all of that, then it seems to me that new possibility is just kind of waiting to be recognized. Like new thought will come. So all we can do is sort of drill down on it and hold it in place. And as soon as we start to loosen our attachment to the thinking, our meaning making, the storytelling, it seems like it just goes on its merry way and replaces itself.
That's going back to the sort of transiency of thought. When we stop feeding it, the thought just goes away like a cloud passing overhead, and the next one comes up.
Well, the thing to do would be to look at your own experience, right? Either you or anyone who's watching this, right? Like when you zero in on something and try to solve for it, how often does that lend itself to good results? Like historically, an apple falls on someone and ta-da! Oh, we have a new concept of gravity, or a key gets hit by a bolt of lightning, or what? There's all these occurrences that were where we, I've been trying to solve a problem. And when did I find the solution? Oh, in the shower. So all this time that you were poring over this idea and probably feeling things like frustration or stress or anxiety or pressure, well, you're having a shower and then, oh, boom, there it is. So I don't know that, in the Joyful Life Project, we talk a little bit about sort of tuning to degrees of less bad. You might not be able to go from hatred for your coworker to loving brotherhood, but you might be able to go from hatred for him to something else. So we can sort of step our way back towards an equilibrium, perhaps, just by virtue of the fact that we can feel when we deviate from our normal buoyant place. Right.
So I think one of the important takeaways, if some of these concepts are new, is that see how it feels to kind of orient yourself around the idea that you are already feeling good and aligned, that's the natural state.
Right.
And again, I think like for myself, that is not a natural thing to do, but even mentally just telling myself that story leads somehow to a better outcome, because once I start paying attention, like we were saying with the frustration, when, I sit down at my desk and I just accept that I'm feeling frustrated, I end up back on the station because, like you said, there's nothing else to do. It's just, I'm already there.
Yeah, I'm there, and my choice is either to stay there and double down on it, or sense the feeling state of it and look in another direction.
Right.
Like there's really not a doing about it. I mean, it takes some practice to kind of see the connection between thought and feeling. I mean, we want to blame. There's no doubt we want to look external to ourselves. Yeah. It's interesting that some state seems to exist. That's pretty okay.
Right.
And we make it a problem when we're not in that state. And I'll say this way: anger is just another. It's part of that state. Like it's anger is not something to be feared. Frustration is not something to be feared. It's just part of the human experience. It's just part of how it works that we have all of these experiences. Like you were alluding to earlier, how boring would it be? Well, yeah, it's perfect all the time. Well, I mean, there are people that claim you can be joyful all the time. I mean, I've seen monks give people the finger. So, even for people that are practiced in it, steeped in it traditionally, historically, culturally, these things still arise. And I think the biggest way to alleviate the suffering that comes with thinking things should be different is being okay with things as they are, and seeing that, okay, right, I don't feel good right now. That points me in the direction of my own responsibility to my personal thinking. What do I do about this? I think there's so much just in the realization of that.
Yeah.
that goes a long way. And I think we have to be a little bit careful when we try to calculate it, like make it into a structure, into a
process, right,
thing,
yeah.
right? It's like, because now all of a sudden it didn't work. Oh, I was doing it wrong. No, I got to fix the structure. And then you're, wrapping your car around a pole or something.
Right.
Not to make light of that in any way, shape, or form, right? But something that I spoke about with this client this morning was I asked if they had noticed how over the last couple of things weren't so good for them, that the more attention they paid to things not being good, that it got worse. And also, hey, did you notice in all of that time where it was feeling, degrees of bad, there were also moments that were just fine? Like,
Right.
so in the absence of being attached to thinking that doesn't make us feel good, something naturally arises. And whether you call it love or mental health, whatever you want to call it, we all have experienced that when we're not actively tuning away, things are pretty good.
Right.
Yeah.
So as we wrap up here, we like to give people something to take away. What's like a simple thing people can keep in mind? Not a technique, not a process, not a set of steps that may or may not work, but from everything we've spoken about, what's a way to sort of realize this in the world?
Notice as you go through your day-to-day life, notice the ebb and flow of your feeling state and try to see how that tracks to your current thinking.
Okay.
Like, I've never heard of anyone, or I've certainly never been able to do this. I've never been able to hold really shitty thoughts in my head and feel great.
Right. Sure.
And I've never, and the opposite. So to play with that awareness that what we're living in is a state being created via our attachment to thinking. Just notice it. And I think as you notice it more and more and more, the fact of it becomes more and more real. And as the fact of it becomes more and more real, it becomes easier to sometimes mitigate it. And not always. If you're sometimes you're just going to get run over, right? It's just like if there's a car on a gentle slope and it starts to move, well, you can probably stop it if you catch it early.
Right.
Or you can redirect, whatever. If you're at the end of the driveway and it's a 100-meter long driveway, sometimes we're just along for the ride.
Right.
And even then, even when we're just along for the ride, there is a comfort in knowing that I'm just along for the ride here. And once I free up, it'll pass, right? So I think takeaway, don't be afraid of what you're experiencing. Just notice the connection between what you're thinking and how you're feeling. I think that goes a long, long way.
I would say, I love that. And I think the one little bit that I would add that I have been playing with for the last bit is to actually lean into those feelings. And so when you're feeling frustrated, like really get into it. Like,
really feel it.
Really frustrated.
Yeah.
Let me feel every little,
Yeah.
it's like tasting a new dish. Like I want every sense activated in how
Yeah, for sure.
uncomfortable this feels. And there's something I found in a few cases where I felt really, really bad, like really bad experiences. By doing that, it sort of turned the whole thing around into something fun.
Yeah.
Like, I feel awful.
Yeah.
Neat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would invite people to experiment with that because it also sort of counteracts that feeling that there's something to fix. It's like, there's nothing. I don't want if I'm on the ride. Like
you almost. I love that, and I agree. I've played with that too, and what I've noticed is that when you really lean in, when you really commit to it, you kind of land at, there's nothing wrong.
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah.
Oh, that was me.
Yeah, what a ride.
Yeah, for sure. Cool.
All right. Excellent. Thanks, everyone.
Is that the end? That's the end. All right.
it.
We'll see you on the next one, everyone.
See you in the next one.
Cool.
All right.